Alright, what's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Suburban or mainstream criminality. As a person who was raised in quote unquote the hood in different cities, different states, and now I live in the quote unquote burbs, I notice the difference with criminality. You know, um, there's a lot of stereotypes when it comes to being from the hood, right? A lot of hyper masculinized, hyper violent, excuse me, the super predator image that, when I was a teenager I had to deal with, not knowing that people was watching TV and thought that kids like me at the time were out to kill them. Like, the fuck are y'all coming out here with guns and crowbars for at stoplights? Like, what is wrong with you? I thought they was crazy. I still think they crazy, but we found it stupid to be viewing criminal activity from the hood. You found it real weird if you was in that life and you thought you was gonna be special and nothing from that life was gonna ever touch you. And you would never get arrested, you would never get shot at, you would never get robbed, you would never get beat up. Like I don't know what world you living in if you believe that's not gonna happen to you, right? So excuse me, I got crack my back. Um, but suburban criminality is different. It's like accountability and responsibility is not taught. As a matter of fact, it's taught to keep pushing the envelope. You know, be like a jackal in a lion's den. And what I mean by that is, you know, the quote unquote story of jackals and lions is where jackals kind of antagonize the lion to get their confidence up to attack the lion and wind up being killed. So that's what I mean about suburban criminality. It's like, it's okay that you did that. You weren't supposed to do that, but that's okay. You know, you can't. The same thing with the number of recent rapes by civilians, college students, police officers that are getting slaps on the wrist, right? The same aspect of all of a sudden weed is illegal and drugs are bad, and then when white people start selling weed, it's now a cash cow, right? And now it's legalized in certain states, and we got these grow houses and all this bullshit. The same thing, and it's not just white. I'm just saying suburban, as in, suburban atmospheres, because I noticed that the poorer you are, it's more zero tolerance. The richer you are, the more you can get away with just ridiculous shit. The part of the affluenza culture where, you know, they're not built for prison. We just let them start shit all the time. And I'm gonna get into it in a minute, more in depth. I'm laying the foundation real quick because what I was getting with the cops and the people and all that other stuff, I see it young. I see it, in the suburbs, and these kids are disrespectful. They can't, don't respond to them because they can't handle your response, because your response will be justified, but they're suburban. They're not built to, their microaggression and their fake pseudo-aggression to you. I know you can crush it, so please show them some mercy. Don't do it. As they grow older, they stealing, they lying, selling drugs, doing drugs publicly, just being kids. Just let them grow. Just let them make it. I mean, they're gonna grow out of that. They get more and more disrespectful, more angry. Push the envelope a little further. You see them young and they're driving cars and they're cutting people off and drag racing, and nobody gives nobody. They're wrecking cars and getting new cars, or being allowed to drive the car that their insurance is paid for, paid off after it's totaled. The parents are dealing with, picking up the pieces, and these kids have no accountability or responsibility for their actions. It's okay. It's okay. People make mistakes. People do make mistakes, but people doing stuff like this, no. Because see, it's the same type of stuff that'll get a kid from the hood locked the fuck up. But these kids are good kids because they're in the suburbs, and to me, they're much more hardened criminals because they're allowed to get away with much more crime. So it's not looked at as crime. It's just an individual day in the life of a good suburban kid who just does fuck shit all the time. Then they grow older and they go out and they pick fights. You go to these clubs where it's mixed races. They go out, they pick fights, and when the people who are non-suburban or non-white in this scenario start swinging back, the police don't grab the person who started the fight. Normally they grab by racial lines or who looks poor, so it emboldens them more because guess what, I could start shit, and even if I started it, I look the part of the person that they're going to defend, so it get worse. That's when saw the Brock kid, get the months, and then the cop get 3 months probation for raping a woman on the job, and numerous teachers getting caught and getting really nothing, cops getting caught killing people. And I'm bringing the cops into it for this because a lot of these people were pretty much suburban people, who or if they weren't suburban people, they were poor people who realized they could hide behind the law and get away with shit like suburban people. Because one thing I've noticed is it goes a little further. Just like when we have rallies, the police, if the KKK has a rally, the police are there to protect the KKK. That's supposed to be a terrorist organization, but that's who the police are there to protect. But a country who doesn't negotiate with terrorists, like I said before in other videos, will protect the KKK. Whatever. Now, because of this, people are emboldened to do more and more and more because, truth be told, all they're getting is slaps on the wrist. And when they're getting all these slaps on the wrist, then people say, oh, they can't handle jail because jail is filled with black people. Yeah, these are black people you have a zero tolerance policy with because they're black. Because we're black. You hate black people, we get it. You don't like black people, we get it. You need black people to be your slaves, to make your economy better and to make your ego feel better. We get it. But it comes at a point where all this criminality, because in the suburbs, this criminality doesn't necessarily affect black communities. It affects, the suburban communities. And this is where, when houses get broken into, people keep it on the hush, and it's a neighbor and a neighbor thing. If a kid gets in trouble with, let me talk to your supervisor. He's a good kid. She's a good kid. She won't do this again. Motherfucker gotta, if they'd actually been charged for all the shit they did, the motherfucker had a rap sheet the size of a phone book. But everything is an individual experience, so they got away with lots and lots of shit. You don't know how many times I see people, out in public doing drugs, drinking and driving, being reckless. I don't see as many public fights, I will say that. don't see as many public fights, but what I tell you I will see is people starting fights but not wanting to finish them. You know, so a lot of posturing, a whole lot of posturing, a whole little fight. And over time, you looking around like this place is gonna be fucked up, and even when I deal with older suburban people, older white people, even they like I talk to them, and we all crack up at the same thing. Like, these kids gonna be fucked because who's gonna pick up the pieces for them when their parents die? These kids gonna be well into their 30s, 40s, 50s. You ain't 50s when you 30s, 40s, and 50s, but their mentality is still gonna be kids in 30s, 40s, and 50s, and you can see it. It's like these kids are having kids, and mid-20s, early 30s can't live on their own, still living at home, and people are trying to keep a good face, and you got a kid with kids, and they want to buy new cars, but they don't want to get the fuck out the house. Kids want to buy new guns and hunt, but they don't want to get the fuck out the house and be on their own. And you're having these people, suburban baby boys, waiting on their parents to die to inherit everything because they're too scared to go out and do something, but they will do criminal shit for a fast buck because they're so accustomed to getting slaps on the wrist. Now, what do you do with that? Where do you go with that? Because at the end of the day, this is how, I'll make this quick because I didn't know I was this far into this thing. I remember as a young kid, I was getting off from school. Young kids was walking. Two little white kids walking. I was in the front yard cutting the grass. I think I was done. I was watering the yard. I was done cutting the grass. And so they get off the little school bus. They're teenagers, like high school kids. So they talking, they walking. We walk right up to where I'm at, talking. The guy pulls out his little piece of paper, whatever he's in, and just throws it in my grass. And I turn and I look at him. I said, man, if you don't pick that shit up, I'm gonna knock your little ass out. And I knew he did it all on purpose. And then when I confronted him like that, oh shit, let me get my motherfucker. You knew not. You really thought you could pull that shit because you used to it. You gonna get fucked up like that. Go to work. No, I don't really have that problem at work. I take that back because I see people when I'm working in the suburbs doing stuff like that to other people, like speeding in a residential area, cutting people off, like damn near running over kids. I see the young girls being young thoughts, but don't nobody want to say nothing about it. I don't understand. And what I mean by young thoughts, I mean young thoughts trying to attract older men. She's 15, and I might be out to lunch, and I'm like, this little girl is trying to flirt with this grown ass man over here. This girl's off the chain. I'm grown enough. No, you're not. Let's see, these adults who constantly want to prove their toughness by starting fights everywhere they go, and they keep starting fights, but they never want to get into fights. The kind of people that just walk up on you and bump you and look at you. What the fuck is wrong with you? I don't know what to do now. Gotta go. And then you can see them walking off and they getting pumped and I should have did it. Like, man, these motherfuckers are stupid. You see these gun nuts. As they get up grown, they become gun nuts. I got this gun, I got that gun, I got that. You ain't the only one with guns. Oh shit. Like, y'all fucking retarded. You know, you see talking to cops and going crazy off cops, and cops, you know, sometimes it's a suburban thing that people grew up in suburban neighborhoods and they know each other. Sometimes it's a racial thing because you don't want to bust your own, the tribalism, you don't want to bust your own people's chops. And some of these cops just got to say fuck it because it gets to the point where people think they could do any fucking thing. You know, stealing, you know, you'd be surprised people go in a grocery store and put shit on the conveyor on the little belt and then just walk off with shit in their hand like, I just wanted to take this. Okay, what the fuck? And that builds and builds and builds and builds to the point where people don't think it's okay. You know, I didn't mean to break in your house and steal your money. I didn't mean to dig in your wallet. We were in the, you know, if I go to the gym, we're in the locker room. And people, I mean, these suburban people be stealing the fuck out of people's shit. You can't, you know, excuse me. As much as people talk about people doing stealing in the hood, these motherfuckers in these suburbs steal. And because nobody's ever looked at as, well, I could be looked at as the villain or the culprit, but other people are just not. They're too suburban to be thieves, and they play into that you know, they play into that. You know, I'm just an all-American person. I would never do. And you're like, man, y'all some fucking idiots. And because of that, you know, like I said, the affluenza and all that, it makes everything worse. Because remember, it's like the affluenza kid, little dude and his mama fled the country and really didn't have no consequences behind that. So that has a reason. That has its reasons, you know. But I went too long on this one, man. I'm out.